Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the council meeting of July 2nd. Is anyone intending to be amplifying headphones? Please raise your hand and I'll get those to you and not say anything. All right, the pledge. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Donna, can you roll call, please?
Yes, I will.
Member Blush.
Here.
Councilmember Stearns.
Here.
Councilmember Gilmore.
Here.
Mayor Nesco.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sherman.
Here.
Councilmember Sapp. Here. Councilmember Gutierrez.
Here. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Does the council have any board reports to share?
Had a left board meeting this morning, I'm reading up hold up.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Are we ready for reading the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I have a change to the agenda for tonight, if you don't mind. Under the business agenda, E1, we're removing that from the agenda tonight. That was a resolution relating to the library deck repairs. We had a bid opening today and received no bids for that project, unfortunately. So we're kind of regrouping and reaching out to our legal counsel to see what our next steps may be. So we hope to bring that to you in the future.
Are we ready for reading the consent agenda? Please read it to the agenda.
Yes, I will. Vouchers numbered 110900 through 110966. And EFT payment numbers 410 through 443 in the total amount of $853,797.90. Vouchers numbered 110986 through 111065 and EFT payment numbers 444 through 465 in the total amount of $559,384.15. Payroll warrants numbered 12736 through 12834. Warrants 110973 through 110985 in the amount of $366,969.23. We have minutes from the business meeting of May 21st, 2024, study session of May 28th, 2024, business meeting of June 4th, 2024, study session of June 11th, 2024, and business meeting of June 18th, 2024. And we have lodging tax advisory committee, which is LTAC member renewals.
Thank you, Donna.
Well,
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as read. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. All right, at this time, members of the public are invited to make public comment on any related topic. Donna, do we have anyone sign up for general public comment?
yes, we do, Mr. Mayor. Our first speaker is Jackie Jewett.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jackie Jewett. I live in Mason County, Shelton. So my comments are going to be centered around the study session that took place on June 11th regarding the shopping carts. So here goes. The mayor recognized there is a huge issue pertaining to shopping carts on the streets of our that are deliberately stolen by Shelton's homeless population. He stated, I see them all over the city, up hills, down hills, riding and everything else. So it was a direct quote. I interpret this as a real safety concern because the shopping carts impede traffic, not only, walking traffic, but motor traffic. They're on and off the sides of the roads. They're in alleys. They're in parking lots. They're in public parks. They're just everywhere. And so I agree with what the mayor said, that they are all over the city. And also, the carts are usually not only carrying like the small belongings that they do own, that they don't want to lose, because that's what they own. but it also carries food. It also carries a lot of food that may be rotten, that they picked out of dumpsters and things. Well, that attracts rats, rodents, birds. Those all carry diseases. So our city is not safe, in my opinion, and that's just one example of that. So I would like to remind everyone that the mayor believes there are no safety concerns in the city because he quoted, "The city is as safe as it's ever been." This is a prime example of the safety of the shopping carts. That is one reason why our city is not as safe as our mayor thinks it is. So I'm a little confused. So I don't see that working, quote. They're not going to do that, quote. That's not going to work, quotes of our mayor from the June 11th session. He repeated these statements 11 times during that session. So I guess that he also mentioned several times about Safeway not being able to afford some of the proposed solutions regarding their shopping carts. So I was not aware that our mayor is a financial expert. I was not aware that he is a financial advisor. I'm not aware that he is privy to the books pertaining to financials about Safeway or any other store here in Shelton. I didn't know that. That was new. How about thinking positive instead of all these negative comments? Not gonna work, not gonna work. Let's think positive and conclude that the shopping cart ordinance is the city's responsibility. How the plan is designed and executed should be up to the store owners. So I'll finish this next time. Thank you.
Next, we have Dean Jewett.
Dean Jewett, lifelong Mason County member. I'm just going to piggyback a little bit on what my wife had stated as well. It was kind of a little ironic watching the study session. I couldn't make it. But it was just, you know, not only that, but cutting off the individuals that wanted to speak about another option or another idea. Just didn't seem like it was even there at all. But I want to kind of focus on Martin versus Boise and Grants Pass. We all know what just happened at the Supreme Court. And I've heard that we have to wait for our city attorney to take looks at the legalities. But as far as I know, the Supreme Court far exceeds our own city attorney. And we've already been down this road of handling it with kid gloves and hands off and not doing anything and just letting people run rampant. We've already done that for 5 years. And where has it got us? It's got us where we're at, and where we're at doesn't work for me, doesn't work for a lot of people. We've got a plethora of RVs pouring into town. 2 of them are sitting in Evergreen Square right now. We got street people that run around threatening to stab members of city council and business owners, running, jaywalking, spitting on all the benches. We have individuals. We had a kick-ass car show, and I had the best car in it, by the way. Maybe I didn't, because I didn't win. But then we have an individual that just decides to lounge all out and take a nap right in the middle of the car show on the benches. What are we doing with that? Why? I mean, is that normal now? I mean, what's the new norm? I don't accept that as normal. I will never accept that as normal. And if there's anybody here that accepts that as normal, then you should resign. On bottom line. But we have the ability to criminalize what is going on. And that doesn't mean going after the homeless people that are using the resources that we have available to them. A lot of the people that are homeless use those resources and they lift themselves out of their quagmire and become a positive, productive member to society. The individuals that are running around, hanging out in Brewer Park and overflowing into the city parks, on the Green Diamond property, impeding the flow of pedestrian traffic, leaving trash everywhere, sleeping in their cars and vehicles. There was a statement that if we pass a shopping cart ordinance, they have to enforce it. They have to do what we want. It's an ordinance. That was another statement by our mayor. Well, what about the ordinances of the street camping? That's an ordinance. Is anybody enforcing that one? Do they have to do that? In closing, In my recommendation, the best thing for the city of Shelton is to have our mayor voluntarily resign and step aside. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Anyone else on it?
That's it.
Anybody online?
No one on Zoom.
Right.
Oh, wait, now there is someone on Zoom.
Oh.
We have Tamara Ingolson.
Hello, thank you, and good evening, Mayor Anisco, Deputy Mayor Sherman, and fellow council members. I am Tamara Ingwaldson, Program Support Specialist for Quixote Communities. In a recent statement, a Mason County Commissioner, supported by a City Council member, proposed voluntary relocation to make the community safe as part of a diversion or non-prosecution agreement for the homeless population. Voluntary relocation has been used before, including with the Native American population in the 1950s. It was used to move Native populations out of rural locations. Politicians justified their actions by stating that relocation would help with the low living standards and health of the indigenous peoples. Historian Casey Keeler stated that relocation was also about racism and who was entitled to what sort of housing and where. One Bureau of Indian Affairs commissioner would later call the program an underfunded, ill-conceived program, essentially a one-way ticket from rural to urban poverty. Eventually, voluntary relocation ended, but the effects still endure, with Indigenous peoples experiencing disproportionately high rates of unemployment, homelessness, violence, mental illness, and addiction. This relocation concept is now being proposed to help reduce the homeless population in town. These codes lack evidence-based support in reducing homelessness and are being increasingly used in rural areas instead of providing more effective housing and services that have proven success and a return on investment that is more fiscally responsible. This relocation concept is also being challenged legally, with homeless residents filing lawsuits against cities like Clarkston, which was charged by the Northwest Justice Project with violating the Washington Constitution by adopting an ordinance that criminalizes the status of being homeless, inflicts cruel and unusual punishment, deprives individuals of due process, and violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. Our city, our county face funding limitations. We should no longer focus on ineffective solutions that could result in unnecessary legal actions and are not fiscally sound policies. We continue to invite you to partner with and invest in your local homeless service providers who offer proven programs and services. We thank you and know your constituents well too.
Thank you. Anyone else on it?
That's it.
Okay, our only business item being pulled, and we're now at our action item. Finance Director Mike Bennett, related to a managed service agreement.
Thank you, Mayor and Deputy Mayor and members of council. Nothing's changed since the last presentation, but just to remind council and members of the public, this is a contract with our managed service provider that provides 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, IT support to supplement our one in-house, our one employee in the IT department. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but as I mentioned, nothing's changed in the contract that we're bringing forward for your consideration.
Thank you, Mike. Don, anyone have public comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, have you ever reading of resolution number 1337-0624?
Resolution number 1337-0624. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to sign the contract with Right Systems Incorporated and authorizing the purchase of necessary components with the vendor.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 1337-0624 as presented.
Second.
Comments or questions? All right. We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 1337-0624 presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Mark,
Thanks,
you
Mike.
have the manager report tonight.
A couple items for you tonight, Mr. Mayor and Council. As most everybody knows, I think the 4th of July, Independence Day is Thursday. City offices will be closed on Thursday. Wish everybody have a safe holiday, obviously. As the council also knows, back in 2004, the commission at that time adopted an ordinance that banned fireworks in the city of Shelton. We know how I guess successful from time to time that ban has been. But it certainly was done in the spirit of protecting individuals, those are experiencing PTSD, pets, things like that. So as well as fire safety. So we encourage the cities put out some information about when to call and who to call instances of fireworks in the city. So there's a non-emergency line 426-4441 for MACECOM to report the use of fireworks, and obviously 911 if there's an injury or imminent threat to hurt people or property at that point. So we want to encourage people to utilize the right resources that are available to us and not tie up 911 for unnecessary purposes. So moving on from there, a couple Parks and Recreation programs next week. Next week on the 10th on Wednesday is our field day down at Nealon Park from 10 to 12. Parks and Recreation staff will be there, open field day free event. Kids can come down and participate in games and activities for a couple hours down in Nealon Park. And then next Friday is Movies in the Park. Kicks us off down at Nealon Park again. I won't tell you exactly what time because we've tried that in the past. Sun stayed out a little longer and to get enough darkness for the movie to project on the screen. So that kicks off 6 weeks of movies on Fridays through the middle of August, which we're looking forward to, and inviting individuals to come out and families and enjoy a movie and in the outdoors. So kind of a new drive-in, I guess, if you will, walk-in, if you will. So that is all I wanted to cover tonight for you.
I also heard today on the county meeting that at 12:01 a.m. on the 4th, they'll stop all, it'll be a burn ban other than recreation. So that's coming our way.
Okay.
So. Does the council have any discussion or any questions from Mark? All right, our next meeting is July 16th, 2024 at 6 p.m. The also have today's session, July 9th at 6 p.m. This meeting is adjourned at 6:17 p.m.